The air in that room crackled when the new CTO, Bradley Thorne, slammed my assessment down. Outdated, he sneered, his eyes glinting, making it chillingly clear **** was the problem. 9 years. 9 long years I'd poured every ounce of myself into Innovatech Solutions. It wasn't just a job, it was my baby, my fortress built stone by painful stone, brick by agonizing brick, because the tight-fisted board. They saw cybersecurity as some kind of optional extra, a line item they could skimp on. Can't we just get a good firewall, Mark? They drone in meetings, their eyes glazing over when I tried to explain the complexities. Mark. Yeah, that's me. They wanted Fort Knox on a shoestring budget, a miracle worker who could pull digital rabbits out of a hat. So, what did I do? I became a damn magician. I remember nights, so many nights, fueled by lukewarm coffee that tasted like despair and sheer, unadulterated stubbornness, the city lights blurring into abstract dot outside my tiny, windowless office. My fingers would be flying across the keyboard, a frantic dance, weaving lines of code, patching vulnerabilities with digital duct tape and a silent prayer. Just one more workaround. I'd mutter to the humming servers, my only companions in the dead of night. One more custom script to keep the wolves at bay. While other companies, flush with cash, were throwing money at expensive, off-the-shelf solutions that barely worked. I was down in the trenches, knee-deep in the muck, crafting something unique, something mine something that actually worked My old boss, Sarah Miller, she was different. God, I miss Sarah. She wasn't a tech wizard, not by a long shot, but she got it. She saw the fire in my eyes, the almost obsessive passion I had for protecting what we were building, what she was building. She'd often peek into my office, way past closing time, and knowing, almost maternal smile on her face. Still saving the world, Mark, she'd ask, and there was genuine respect in her voice, a warmth that made the long hours feel almost worth it, not that condescending, dismissive tone Thorne would later perfect. Sarah trusted me, gave me the space to innovate to build. And the system I built? It was a marvel of cobbled-together ingenuity, if I do say so myself. Barely documented, sure, because who the hell had the time for meticulous paperwork when you were fighting off hackers with one hand and coding with the other? It was a complex, beautiful beast, a symphony of carefully balanced chaos, humming along, keeping us safe when everyone else was scrambling. We weathered storms that took down giants in our industry, global corporations with security budgets that dwarfed our entire company's revenue. Remember that massive data breach at Omnicorp that crippled them for weeks? Or when GlobalNet got hit with that ransomware, grinding their operations to a halt. Innovatech sailed through untouched, a beacon of stability in a sea of digital chaos. All because of my system. My tribal knowledge as Thorne, that arrogant prick, would later call it with such dripping disdain. Blood, sweat, and tears. That wasn't just some tired cliche for me. It was my daily grind, my reality. I sacrificed weekends, birthdays, God knows how many family dinners, all for Innovatech. And for what? A quiet nod from Sarah, and the deep, resonant satisfaction of knowing I was the invisible shield. They don't see it. I'd often think, watching the company grow, flourish, all under the silent, unwavering protection of my creation. But they're safe because of me. It was enough. Or at least, it used to be. Before he arrived, with his polished shoes and his wrecking ball of an ego. So when Thorne, with his slicked back hair and $1,000 suit that probably cost more than my entire annual budget for security tools, slammed my assessment down and called my life's work outdated, it wasn't just an insult to my skills. No, it was a knife, cold and sharp, twisting in a wound 9 years deep. He didn't see the graveyard shifts, the ingenious workarounds born of desperation, the sheer bloody-minded determination it took to keep Innovatech secure on a diet of breadcrumbs and hope. He just saw something he didn't understand, something he couldn't easily control or replace with a flashy, overpriced package from one of his golfing buddies. And in that moment, I knew. I just knew this wasn't going to end well. That meeting was just the opening salvo, the first crack in the dam. Thorne, that smug bastard, didn't waste any time. He started talking about unlocking trap value, a phrase that dripped from his tongue like poison, making my stomach churn. What value was trapped? The value of not getting hacked. Value of 9 years of my life spent ensuring this company didn't become another cautionary tale. He paraded through the halls, a conquering hero in his own mind, his voice echoing with hollow corporate speak, promising a new era of efficiency and modernization. Modernization, my ass. He meant cheap and flash. He started by sidelining me. Slowly at first. My team meetings, the ones where we used to deep dive into threat intelligence and fine-tune our defenses, became different. Thorne would attend, arms crossed, a condescending smirk playing on his lips. He'd interrupt, questioning every decision, every protocol I'd painstakingly put in place. Mark, he'd say, his voice dripping with false politeness, are we sure this custom approach is scalable? Is it best practice? The industry leaders are all moving towards integrated platforms. He loved name-dropping those big, clunky, expensive platforms, the very ones I knew for a fact had back doors you could drive a truck through, but ones Sarah and I had laughed about avoiding. My warnings, my explanations about why my asterisk system was uniquely suited to Innovatech, why it was more robust than anything off the shelf, fell on deaf ears. He just nod, that infuriatingly placid look on his face, and say, interesting perspective, Mark, we'll take that under advisement. It was like screaming into a void. I remember one particularly galling meeting. He was proposing a complete overhaul of our firewall architecture, pushing for some new vendor whose sales pitch was clearly written by the marketing department, not their engineers. Bradley, I tried, keeping my voice as even as I could. This new system has known vulnerabilities. I've seen the reports. It's a step backward. Our current setup. He cut me off, a dismissive wave of his hand. Mark, your asterisk legacy asterisk system, while I'm sure it served its purpose, is too reliant on what seems to be, well, tribal knowledge. Asterisk tribal knowledge asterisk. The words hum in the air, heavy and offensive. My life's work, the intricate web of code and countermeasures that had kept Innovatech safe, reduced to some primitive, unwritten lore. The sheer arrogance of it stole my breath. My fist clenched under the table. I could feel the blood pounding in my temples. Asterisk, he has no idea. Asterisk, I thought, a bitter laugh catching in my throat. Asterisk, no damn idea what he's dismantling. Asterisk. He started bringing in his own consultants, slick young guys who talked a good game, but whose eyes glazed over when I tried to explain the real nuts and bolts. They produced glossy reports filled with charts and buzzwords, all recommending exactly what Thorne wanted to hear: rip it all out, start fresh. They were like vultures circling, eager to pick the bones of what I'd built. I saw them, day by day, chipping away at my fortress. A critical patch ignored here, a security protocol bypassed there for operational expediency. Each change was a stab in the gut. I'd work late, trying to shore up the new holes they were creating, a desperate, losing battle. My warnings grew more urgent, more frantic. I even tried going over Thorne's head, appealing to some of the board members who'd known me for years. Blank stares. Polite deflections. Thorne had them mesmerized with his promises of cost savings and streamlined operations. The stress was unbelievable. Sleep? A distant memory. Food tasted like ash. My apartment, once a refuge, felt like a cage where I just paced and replayed Thorne's condescending remarks, his utter disregard for the impending disaster he was courting. I'd look at the lines of code I'd written, the architecture diagrams I'd sketched out on countless late nights, and a cold dread would wash over me. It wasn't just about my job anymore, or my pride. It was about the company, the employees, the data we were sworn to protect. He was steering us straight into a goddamn iceberg, and I was the only one screaming about it. Then came the day. It was a Tuesday, I remember, ironically bright and sunny. I was called into a conference room. Not the big one, but a smaller, more intimate room, the kind they used for delicate conversations. Thorne was there, naturally, looking even more smug than usual. And next to him, a woman I vaguely recognized from HR, Linda Rossi. She had that practiced, neutral expression that HR people wear when they're about to deliver bad news, a look that's supposed to be empathetic but just feels cold and impersonal. My heart sank. I knew. I knew before a single word was spoken. Thorne leaned back in his chair, a picture of corporate nonchalance. Mark, he began, his tone infuriatingly calm, we've been re-evaluating our strategic direction, particularly within the cybersecurity division. He droned on for a few minutes, more corporate bullshit about synergy and future-proofing, words that meant nothing. Linda Rossi just sat there, nodding occasionally, her eyes flicking towards me then away, like she couldn't quite meet my gaze. Then Thorne dropped a hammer. And so, we've decided that your role here at Innovatech is no longer aligned with our new vision. He said it with a faint, almost imperceptible smile, a glint of triumph in his eyes. Linda then slid a folder across the table. Severance package. Non-disclosure agreement. The usual crap. Your access will be revoked at the end of the day, Thorne added, as if it were an afterthought. Just like that. 9 years. My system. My baby. Gone. Snatched away. I didn't say much. What was there to say? I'd already said it all, screamed it all, and no one had listened. I just looked at Thorne, really looked at him, at the hollowness behind his expensive suit and confident facade. He thought he'd won. He had no idea the storm he'd just unleashed, the gaping hole he'd torn in the company's defenses. My dire predictions, the ones he dismissed with such casual disdain, suddenly felt very, very real. They weren't just warnings anymore. They were a prophecy echoing in the sterile silence of that room, waiting to unfold. And as I walked out of Innovatech for the last time, leaving my fortress in the hands of a fool, a strange sense of calm washed over the fury. They had made their bed. Soon, they'd have to lie in it. It didn't even take a full 2 days. 48 hours. That's all the time it took for Thorne's grand vision of modernization to spectacularly implode. I was trying to decompress, attempting to coax some life back into my apartment when my phone started vibrating like it was having a seizure. It was Kevin, one of my old team, bless his panicked heart. "Mark, oh God, Mark, it's a nightmare." His voice was tight, cracking with pure unadulterated terror. "Everything's down, the whole damn network is blinking red, we're locked out of Asterisk, everything Asterisk, the firewalls Thorns guys put in, they're Swiss cheese. Man, Swiss cheese." I leaned back, phone pressed to my ear, a slow, cold wave washing over me. It wasn't satisfaction, not yet. It was more like the grim finality of watching a prophecy unfold, a prophecy I'd screamed from the rooftops until my voice was hoarse. Asterisk tribal knowledge, Asterisk, he'd called it. Now the tribe was gone, and the invaders were finding out just how hostile the jungle could be without a guide. "What did Thorn say?" I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. He's losing it, Mark, running around like a headless chicken. Nobody knows what to do. Those consultants, useless, absolutely useless. They're just staring at screens, babbling about cascading failures. No kidding, Sherlock. I let him vent, the picture of chaos painting itself vividly in my mind. Thorn, the conquering hero, now reduced to a panic wreck. The image was almost beautiful, in a terribly destructive sort of way. Then, as Kevin was still hyperventilating into the phone, a call waiting beeped through. A known number. My gut tightened. "Kevin, hold on," I said, and switched over. A hesitant, strained voice on the other end. Mark, is that you? It's Bradley Thorn." Oh, the sheer, exquisite delight of that moment. His voice, usually so smooth and condescending, was now laced with a tremor he couldn't quite hide. The master of corporate doublespeak reduced to this. "Bradley," I said, letting the name hang in the air, savouring the way it must have tasted like cash in his mouth. "Listen, Mark, we seem to be experiencing some asterisk anomalies, asterisk with the system, asterisk anomalies. Asterisk the audacity. He'd driven the damn company off a cliff, and he was calling it asterisk anomalies, asterisk. Like it was some rogue weather pattern, not the direct, inevitable consequence of his blithering incompetence. Anomalies, Bradley." I let a beat of silence stretch, just long enough to be uncomfortable. "That's a rather mild way to put it, isn't it? From what I hear, Innovatech is currently experiencing a full-blown digital apocalypse." He stammered, something about needing a clear head, needing someone with familiarity. Your insight, Mark. It would be invaluable right now. We need to get this contained." Asterisk my insight. Asterisk the same insight he dismissed, ridiculed, thrown back in my face. The same insight that was now the only lifeline he could grasp. A bitter laugh almost escaped me, but I choked it down, replaced it with ice. This wasn't the time for laughter. This was the time for terms. "My insight, Bradley," I said, my voice's silken rasp, "doesn't come free anymore, not after recent events." I could almost feel him squirming on the other end of the line. The desperation was practically radiating through the phone. "Name your price, Mark, anything. We need this fixed." The arrogance was gone, replaced by a raw, pleading fear. It was intoxicating. "All right, Bradley, here's the deal," I began, feeling a surge of power, a cold, hard clarity cutting through the remnants of anger and betrayal. "My consultancy rate is $1,000 per hour, starting from asterisk right now, asterisk, and I want the first 10 hours paid up front wired to my account before I even think about looking at your mess, non-negotiable." A choked sound came from his end. "1,000 an hour? Mark, that's my rate for cleaning up disasters created by corporate negligence and monumental egos." "Bradley," I cut him off, my tone like chipped granite. "And there's one more thing. I want a legally binding waiver, signed by you and whoever else matters over there, absolving me of any and all liability for whatever happens or asterisk doesn't asterisk happen from this point forward. You broke it. If I decide to help you pick up the pieces, it's on asterisk your asterisk head if those pieces don't fit back together perfectly." Silence. Just the sound of his ragged breathing. He knew he had no other choice. He'd backed himself into a corner, dismantled his own fortress, and then invited the wolves in. And now he was begging the exiled gatekeeper to come back and save him from the carnage. Oh, the irony wasn't just sweet, it was a goddamn 5-course meal with a vintage wine pairing. And I was ready to present him with the bill. He was actually going to do it. I could hear the rustle of papers, a muffled curse, the distinct sound of a man drowning and grasping at a very, very expensive straw. I understand, Mark. We will get the waiver drafted, the funds." He was on the hook, squirming, ready to sign away his dignity and a chunk of Innovatech's rapidly dwindling change. The words we agree were practically hanging in the air, a testament to his utter desperation. And just then, as that pathetic agreement was about to tumble from his lips, something cold and sharp and utterly exhilarating bloomed in my chest. It wasn't just about the money, or even the groveling. No, this was bigger. This was about slamming the door in his face, just like he'd slammed it in mine. A new, audacious idea, a beautiful, terrible lie, sparked to life in my mind. "Hold on a second, Bradley," I said, my voice suddenly taking on a regretful, almost mournful tone that was pure performance art. There's actually a bit of a snag on my end. A snag? His voice shot up an octave, cracking under the strain. What snag? Mark, for God's sake! We're hemorrhaging here. The entire system is a black hole. I let out a slow, deliberate breath, drawing out the moment, savoring the exquisite tension I was weaving. Yeah, well, funny thing about being unexpectedly liberated from your previous employment, Bradley. You start exploring other avenues, bright new horizons, you know? I paused, letting the implication settle in heavy and suffocating. As it happens, I signed an offer letter this morning with a new firm, and wouldn't you know it, part of that offer, a rather comprehensive non-compete agreement. The silence on the other end was so profound, so absolute, I could practically hear the colour draining from his face, the gears in his overpaid brain grinding to a screeching halt. I pictured him, phone clutched in a sweaty palm, the dawning horror as the last lifeboat he thought he'd managed to flag down suddenly, inexplicably, sailed right on by, leaving him to the sharks. It was a lie, of course. A glorious, magnificent, empowering lie. I hadn't signed a damn thing, hadn't even updated my LinkedIn profile. But *** didn't know that. And in that moment, that beautiful, fabricated non-compete felt more real, more potent, more deeply satisfying than any paycheck ever could. A non-compete, he finally choked out, the words sounding like they were physically scraped from his throat. But you can't, this is Innovatech, we need you. Afraid so, Bradley, I said, layering in a thick dollop of false sympathy. My hands so tight, wouldn't want to start a new chapter by immediately breaching a contract, would I? Bad form, bad for the reputation, ** my * reputation, the one * key * in his corporate cronies had tried to drag through the mud. Oh, the irony was so thick you could spread it on toast. This was richer, so much richer, than I could have ever plotted. While he was probably trying to remember how to breathe, my other lines started buzzing insistently. I glanced at the caller ID. Richard Price. The CEO. The big man himself. The architect of this whole modernization farce, the one who'd undoubtedly rubber-stamped my termination without a second thought, probably while sipping some overpriced scotch and congratulating Thorne on his bold vision. My, how the mighty had fallen, and how quickly they came crawling when the kingdom was burning down around them. I let Thorne stew in his self-made toxic waste dump for another agonizing second. Look, Bradley, I said, my voice dripping with false urgency, I gotta take this, sounds important. I clicked over without waiting for his inevitable, sputtering protest. Mark, thank God. It's Richard Price. His voice, usually so booming and self-assured in those all-hands meetings, was thin now, reedy, laced with a desperation that was music to my ears. Listen, about this catastrophic meltdown. Thorne tells me you were discussing terms. Mark, we need you. We need you ***. Name your price, anything, just fix this. I leaned back in my chair, a slow, predatory smile spreading across my face, unseen by any of them. The digital wildfire was clearly raging, #Innovatech apocalypse, #on fail. I could almost see the hashtags trending in real time. The precious, multi-million-dollar company brought to its knees by their own breathtaking arrogance, and now they were all turning to the guy they discarded like yesterday's news. Richard, I said, my voice a mask of calm, almost gentle consideration. I appreciate the call, truly, but as I was just explaining to Bradley, I'm afraid my circumstances have changed. I accepted a new position this morning, wonderful opportunity, and yes, that non-compete is rather ironclad, you understand. I let the silence stretch, taut and heavy with his unspoken panic. Terrible timing, isn't it? I could almost hear the whoosh of air as he deflated, the CEO bluster vanishing into the ether. He started to babble, to plead, to offer stock options, a corner office, probably his firstborn son if he thought it would help. But I wasn't really listening to the words anymore. I was just basking in the glorious, exquisite symphony of the world collapsing, my deliberate, unyielding silence the conductor's grand finale to their spectacular, self-inflicted enduring. I held every single card, and I had absolutely no intention of playing a single one for them. Let them burn. So, Richard Price blubbered on, the CEO of a crumbling empire, offering me the moon and stars, but it was all just noise. White noise. Like the static on a dead channel after the final broadcast. I let him talk. Let him plead. Let him try to bargain with the ghost. Because that's what I was to them now, wasn't I? A ghost from their past, come back to haunt their present, their future. When he finally ran out of steam, out of promises, out of anything but the rugged sound of his own breathing, I just said, very quietly, Richard, I wish you the best of luck with all that. And then I hung up. Click. Just like that. Severed. The silence that followed in my little apartment was golden. Not the heavy, suffocating silence of their end of the line, but a light, airy silence. The silence of a new dawn. The days that followed were, well, they were exactly what you'd expect. Innovatech didn't just stumble, it nosedived. Spectacularly. The stock became wallpaper. #Innovatech Apocalypse wasn't just a hashtag anymore, it was a business school case study in the making. Clients fled like rats from a sinking ship, taking their millions with them. The news painted a grim picture: data breaches, system failures, regulatory investigations. It was a public immolation, every agonizing detail splashed across the headlines. And Thorne? Bradley Thorne, the architect of my dismissal, the visionary who saw my life's work as trivial knowledge. Poof. Vanished. One day he was the hotshot CTO, the next, well, let's just say his LinkedIn profile got real vague, real fast. Me? I wasn't watching the flames with a bucket of popcorn, not exactly. Okay, maybe a small bag. But mostly I was moving on. That beautiful, terrible lie about the non-compete. It had bought me time, peace, and a hell of a lot of satisfaction. But more than that, it had been a catalyst. I actually started looking around, quietly, even before their SOS calls. And just a week after I'd hung up on Richard Price, I signed real offer letter. With Guardian Shield Systems. Walking into Guardian Shield felt like stepping out of a smog-choked city and into clean, crisp mountain air. Olivia Chen, the VP of Engineering, didn't just talk about valuing expertise, she lived it. She'd read my ancient white papers, the ones Thorne had probably used as coasters. She asked questions. She listened. Remember Sarah Miller, my old boss? Olivia was like Sarah, but with a budget and the full backing of a company that actually understood what security meant. It wasn't long before Kevin, my old protege, the first one who called me in a panic, was sitting at a desk near mine. Then Chloe Jensen, one of the sharpest analysts I'd ever known, who Thorne had also systematically alienated. We were a team again, building something new, something solid. Something real. There was no tribal knowledge nonsense here. Just respect. And a shared mission. Sometimes, late at night, after a good day at Guardian Shield, a day spent solving actual problems instead of fighting political battles, I'd think back. I'd remember that cold dread walking out of Innovatech, Linda Rossi's plastic smile, Thorne's smug dismissal. The feeling of being discarded, devalued. It had cut deep, deeper than I'd admitted at the time. For a while there, I'd questioned myself. Was I the obsolete one? Was my way of doing things truly outdated? That seeing Innovatech crumble, seeing Thorne's meteoric rise become an equally meteoric flameout, it wasn't just vindication. It was a clarification. It solidified something in me. My way wasn't outdated, it was proven. Their way, the shiny, shortcut-laden, jargon-filled path of disruption without substance. Was the dinosaur. The last I heard of Bradley Thorne, he'd surfaced briefly at some other company, Omnicore Dynamics, I think. Lasted all of 3 months before another strategic realignment saw him looking for new opportunities as a strategic advisor, corporate speak for unemployable. His career was a smoldering ruin, a fitting testament to his monumental hubris. It wasn't just that he was arrogant, it was that his arrogance was built on nothing. A house of cards, just like the system he tried to impose on Innovatech. Me? I'm good. More than good. I'm building things that matter, with people who get it. The anger, that sharp, cold bloom of exhilaration I felt when I spun that light of Thorne. It's faded. Replaced by something quieter, steadier. A sense of peace. A sense of rightness. They thought they could just erase my work. But you can't erase fundamentals. You can't cut corners on integrity, on real skill, and not expect the whole damn thing to come crashing down around your ears. They learned that the hard way. And me? I learned that sometimes slamming a door in someone else's face can be the first step to opening a much, much better one for yourself. Yeah, they learned it the hard way, alright. That final, crushing bill for Innovatech. It wasn't just money, though God knows they lost plenty of that. It was their name, their future, everything they built, all gone up in smoke. All because they thought they could put a price tag on real security, thought they could cut corners on the one thing that truly mattered. They found out, didn't they? Found out that real expertise, the kind I'd poured my life into, isn't just some line item you can slash. My revenge, it wasn't just watching their empire turn to dust, though I gotta admit, there was a dark, satisfying poetry to it. No, the real victory, the thing that settled deep in my bones, was proving that genuine skill, that foresight, that is the only currency that truly holds its value. That's the bedrock. They tried to build on sand, on ego and quick fixes. And it all came crashing down. A brutal, soul-crushing lesson Bradley Thorne and the whole lot of them paid for, and I hope it still burns.